The old stone groaned, and
A final, weary sigh.
Against the relentless press of water.
A forgotten pipe had burst.
And history itself was beginning to dissolve.
A tide of mud and ruin
Crept toward a collection of scrolls. That had not seen the light of day. For a millennium. The chamber was a forgotten lung of the city. A place of silence and dust, nestled in the catacombs beneath the Palatine Hill. Air thick with the scent of ancient papyrus.
and cold stone.
hung heavy and still.
Shafts of weak light from a grated opening high above.
Cut through the gloom.
Illuminating, swirling motes of dust. And the ashes of disintegrated words.
Here, in this silent archive. The unread and the unremembered slept,
Their brittle spines lined up in stoic rows,
waiting for a verdict from time that had already been passed. It was a place where the echoes of empire had faded to the faintest of whispers.
At stake was not a golden eagle or a marble bust,
but something far more fragile and profound. A dark truth.
The scrolls in this chamber were the Acta Damnatorum,
The records of the condemned.
they chronicled not the glory of Rome, but its shadows.
The grim mechanics of its power.
The cold bureaucracy of its cruelty.
And now, the seeping water threatened to erase them forever.
Decay was a quiet accomplice to forgetting.
Why save such darkness?
Why fight to preserve the schematics of suffering?
But to lose this history was to lose the testimony of those who endured it.
It was to grant a final victory to the very forces that sought to crush the human spirit.
Then they arrived.
Not soldiers or politicians.
But a small team of archivists. You.
From the Capitoline museums.
Led by the elderly Dr. Elena Valla.
They moved with a quiet reverence.
Their headlamps carving arcs of light through the oppressive dark.
This was no grand excavation.
It was a desperate, intimate rescue mission.
Elena and her young protégés waded through the murky, ankle-deep water.
Their faces etched with a grim determination.
Their tools were not swords.
Soft brushes, archival sponges.
And hands trained for a surgeon's delicacy.
The race against time was a silent, frantic ballet.
They built makeshift dams.
And frantically pumped water out into the tunnels.
Elena's gloved fingers, wrinkled but steady, hovered over a waterlogged scroll case. As she gently lifted the pulpy lid,
the ink from a title page bled into the murky water. A ghost of a word dissolving into nothing.
Every rescued artifact.
Was placed in a climate-controlled crate. Was placed in a climate-controlled crate.
as one of her team members brushed centuries of grime. As one of her team members brushed centuries of grime.
A faded inscription in Latin became visible.
Instrumenta cruciatus.
The instruments of torture.
They had found it. The air grew still.
The sound of the pumps fading into a low hum.
They were holding a catalogue of nightmares.
Sound of a final crate closing.
In the sterile brightness of the conservation laboratory.
The rescued scroll was laid out on a vast white table.
Under the careful gaze of conservators.
Under the careful gaze of conservators.
Point its faded text, enhanced by spectral imaging.
Point its faded text, enhanced by spectral imaging.
The methodical, chilling detail of how to break a person.
The Bronze Bull.
The merciless rack.
The wheel of exquisite agony.
Each entry was a cold testament to calculated cruelty.
Yet, as the team worked,
The feeling was not one of morbid fascination,
but of profound, aching reverence. They were not just saving an artifact.
They were bearing witness.
The rescue was a success.
The list was preserved, scanned, and digitally immortalized.
The names of the victims, recorded in the margins,
were now more than just faded ink on a dying page. They were a permanent scar on the memory of the world. Asus. A reminder that could never again be washed away.
The silence of the archive had been broken. And in its place, a story could now be told.
For this is our sacred duty.
Not just to cherish the light of our past,
but to have the courage to face its darkness.
We preserve these grim records, not to honor the cruelty,
but to honor the resilience of those who faced it.
In saving their story,
we save a piece of our own humanity.
The powerful image of the Colosseum lingers, a symbol of both glory and suffering.